Guys, this is Amy Cagle, and I am going to be going over Unit 1 information today for your Introduction to Professional Communication. So just wanted to give you kind of an overview of what can be found in Moodle for this particular week. Then we will go over the lecture notes and then go over the student samples of what I expect to see when we are working on this assignment. So the first thing you'll see in Moodle is underneath the unit breakdown, which you can read on your own. I'm not going to be going over the unit breakdown in these videos because it will be different each semester in terms of the due date. So please make sure that you are looking at the unit breakdown. This will be the only video I'll show you where they are located. They are located at the top of the video at the top of the Moodle section underneath the title of the unit. It will have what to do, and in bold will be the dates that they are due. You will also see the standards that will be covered in each unit underneath. The first thing you'll see for this particular one is I need you to open and read chapters 1 and 2 in the textbooks here, and I'll be going over that information in the lecture video, but also make sure that you're reading that on your own. The lecture video is here. You are obviously already looking at that. The secret word assignment is here. I will let you guys know the secret word later. Make sure that you are opening and completing the professional email quick write. Your first assignment that you will be sending to me is the introductory email assignment, and I'll be going over that shortly. And I'll go over the rest of these later. So let's get into the lecture video itself. So Unit 1 is covering Introduction to Professional Communications. One of the most important tools that any person working professionally needs to be aware of is how to write a professional email. Writing an email to you, your friends, or your family are completely different than writing them in a professional setting. So we're just going to make sure that we go over these particular things. So here's some tips for sending a professional email. First of all, always open with a proper salutation. Dear such and such. Hello, Casey. Make sure that in that email you have a clear but brief subject line. In the email, you'll always have a place where you include the subject. Please make sure you don't leave that blank. If that's left blank, then people aren't going to think that it's important. So make sure that you're being very clear with your subject. Close with a signature. Sincerely, Amy. Regards, Amy. We'll touch base soon, Amy. Avoid writing with abbreviations, and they talked about this a little bit in the writing expectations video. In professional writing in general, you want to make sure that you are not using abbreviations. Make sure in emails that you are brief. We don't need to write 3-page long emails. If there's that much information, your email should indicate that you need to have a conversation with this person and then go into more details there. Make sure you're using a good format. Reread, revise, and review. You want to make sure that you are sending an email with proper spelling and grammar, because this is the impression that you are giving the people that are reading your email. Reply promptly. If it's urgent, you need to reply within the day. If it's not urgent, within 24 hours. Do not wait 3 or 4 days to email back. That's not professional. Use reply all sparingly on most of your email servers. I know Gmail is one that I use frequently for my work at Asheboro High School. You can turn off reply all, and I recommend turning that off and manually hitting that yourself, because sometimes the reply you're sending to a colleague is private. And if you hit reply all, everyone that was included in that initial email will get that answer. Avoid using all caps. People think that you're yelling at them. Always make sure that you're testing your links. If you're sending them a link to a website, make sure you test it before you send it to make sure that it works. If you're going to be sending a large file to them, email ahead of time and let them know that a large file is coming. And then lastly, give feedback or follow up when asked for it. So here's a really good example of what an email would look like if you are sending one. So at the top here, you have your subject line, safe zone training. It's very straightforward, very simple, very, very brief. You have your salutation here, a brief, grammatically correct statement. You have a link. You know that it works because it's a different color, but you're going to test that ahead of time. Let me know you attend. That's your closing line, and then your name. Netiquette. Netiquette is a fancy word that they've been using probably the last 10 years or probably, I guess, 20 years now when the emails and online life is becoming more apparent. Netiquette is the etiquette or protocols or norms for communicating on the internet. How to act appropriate and professional on the internet. Make sure that you know your context. Always introduce yourself. Don't assume that people know you. Don't assume or have assumptions about the readers themselves. Remember that culture influences communication styles and practices. So someone's culture may be different than yours, so they may take things in a different way. Also, make sure that you're familiarizing yourself with any policies on acceptable use of IT or resources at your organization. You need to be aware of how IT works in your organization before you start sending emails through it. Also, make sure that you're remembering the human being. Remember that there is a person behind the words. You need to make sure that you are asking clarification for any time you're making a judgment. Email doesn't always come across as you want it to sound. You may sound harsh and not mean to because of the way you write things. So make sure that you're checking your tone. Make sure that you are responding to people using their names, not hey buddy or pumpkin or angel. Make sure that you are thinking how culture and gender can play a part in how people communicate. Be authentically yourself. Understand that people may not reply immediately. Just in those reply rules that I gave you, you should reply within the day for an urgent email, but for a non-urgent email, you may have a 24-hour response time. Some people may also follow that. So if they don't reply immediately, that doesn't mean that they're ignoring you. It just means that they need to gather the information you're asking for before sending an email back. However, do keep in mind that if it is something that's going to take you a while to answer, maybe they're asking for a question that you have to find the answer to, it may not be a bad idea to reply and let them know within an hour of that response. Let them know that this is something that's going to take you more than a day to gather. So please understand that you are not ignoring them, but it is going to take some time to gather that information. And then avoid jokes and sarcasm. They don't always translate well in an email, and people may think that you're being disrespectful. Also realize that text is permanent. You cannot pull an email back. Once it's out, it's out. So think before you send. It cannot be taken back later. Consider the responsibility to your group and to the working environment, and agree on ground rules for text communication if you're working collaboratively. You have several different types of audiences that you need to be aware of. First of all, you have experts. These are the people that know that business. They know the organization. You don't have to explain many things to them. You have technicians who understand the technical side, but not the business side. So if you're doing a response that is more business specific, then you may need to be a little bit more explicit with what you say. Then on the other hand, you have executives who may understand the business side of your company, but not the technical side. So if you're sending them a response or an email about something that is technical, whether it's working on a car or working on a piece of equipment, you may need to be a little bit more understanding that they may not understand all the jargon and things that you use within your organization. And then lastly, you have non-specialists. Those are people like me or your customers who don't have a clue about either side of your company. So making sure that you understand these audiences is really important, because if you don't understand whom you are speaking to, you may confuse them, or on the other hand, you may offend them by over explaining something they already understand. So it's important to think about who your audience is based on using kind of an audience analysis. So think about the background, how much knowledge your reader will have about the topic you're addressing, thinking about the needs and interests of what the reader will expect from your email, and then lastly, your other demographic characteristics. What is the age group, the residence, the gender of whom you are talking to? Please don't, though, however, just a side note, don't make assumptions that just because someone is a woman that they won't understand car stuff, or just because someone is a man that they won't understand cooking or other aspects of your career. That just sets you off on the wrong foot. So when we're talking demographic characteristics, while gender is important, I think just their understanding of your field is more important, because this day and age, everybody does all kinds of jobs. So making that assumption based on gender may not get you off on the best foot with your customer. And then make sure that you are adapting what you're writing for your audience. So think about your audience. Take that audience into consideration before you draft your email. Think about if it's going to be understood or well received before you actually send it. And then also make sure that you're providing the right information. You're going to add information the readers need to understand the document. Make sure you're omitting any unnecessary information. If it's, remember, emails are supposed to be brief. So if it's too long or too extensive, people may not care anymore. Make sure you're adding examples if needed, and then make sure those examples are appropriate. At this point, I'm going to add in your secret word. Your secret word for this email is omit unnecessary information. So I'm going to repeat myself. The secret word or phrase in this case for this particular lecture video is omit unnecessary information. It's bullet 2. Please make sure that after this is over that you've written this down and that you're typing it into the secret word assignment on Moodle. Next, make sure that you're guiding your readers, changing the text organization if you need to. Look at the way it's organized. If it's confusing, the reader's not going to get what you need. Strengthen your transitions. Make sure that when you're going from one topic to another topic that it's clear. Write a strong introduction and create topic sentences if your email is going to be more than just a paragraph. And then edit. This is a professional email, not a text message to your boo. So it needs to sound and read professionally. Therefore, professional spelling and grammar are a must. Please make sure you're using correct capitalization, complete sentences, no slang, texting language, or emojis. Now, is it okay if you are friends with a coworker and you're shooting them an email about lunch to include an emoji? Absolutely. But you don't want to include an emoji to your boss when you're sending them an email about a question you have about your time off. Make sure those are professional. So, your weekly assignment this week is an introductory email that you are going to send to me. So let's go ahead and get back to Moodle, and I'm going to go over that with you. Of course, my mouse is being a jerk. Hold on just a second. There we go. So, your introductory email assignment is here. If you click on it, it will go over it. So what you're going to do is you're going to send me a physical email at amcagle@randolph.edu. In this email, you are going to explain one email guideline that is the most important and briefly discuss why you believe it is the most important. Additionally, discuss how using professional texting or email will help you in your career specifically. If you do not know what career you want to do yet, then just think about a career that is interesting to you or one that would use professional emails. Make sure that you are using proper email procedures. Pay attention to spelling and grammar because you do not want to seem unprofessional. Then, as in bold means important, you're going to copy and paste the content of your email to the submission box. To get full credit, you must do both. Email me and copy and paste to submit. So you can copy and paste it and put it in the text box, or you can upload like a screenshot of the email. That's fine as well. Remember that all assignments will not be open 3 days after the due date. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, let's go back down to the next assignment. I'm going to go ahead and go over that. The these are not in the right order. Fix that. That's driving me insane. All right. Your written component for this particular unit is a customer email assignment. So what you're going to do is you can use either your own business. If you're part of the Richard Petty Auto Center, you can use that, or you can use a fake business that you think you may want to get in touch with. You may think about something that you can do later, something that you might want to get into. So the purpose of this email is going to provide customer with an estimate for possible services rendered. So this could be cleaning someone's house. This could be an estimate on fixing their brakes. This could be an estimate on any type of service that pertains to the career you are choosing. But you need to be specific in describing the service and provide a detailed estimate. So if you're talking about cleaning someone's house, you need to break it down. So if it's going to be $200, what will be included in those $200? Make sure that it looks like an email, not just a paragraph, meaning you need to have a to and from email address. You can make those up or you can use your own. You need a subject line and a date at the top. So there is a student sample that I want you to look at. Hold on just a second. We'll get this pulled up. Scroll back down. So if every single unit has a student sample for the written components where you can see what I'm hoping for you to see. So this particular student sample, if you look at it, you have from Joe student, this is the email address, to Johnny Appleseed, this is an email address, the date, and the subject. We have our salutation. We have your email. We have a please get back to us with your closing line, name, and then information. I expect your student sample to look like this one. All right, so that is Unit 1. Please, please, please make sure that you have contacted me with any questions that you may have. Remember that the assignments are going to close within 3 days of their due date, and the secret word assignment will close at 11:59 on Thursday. So if you do not, or I'm going to say midnight because I'll give you in a couple extra minutes. So if you do not get these things finished, you will not get credit for these assignments. If you need any if you have any questions or need any help, make sure you contact me and let me know. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.